Oh, hey, I'm just in class right now. Don't tell anyone, but I didn't do so hot in math, so I had to take summer school. Yeah, anyway, I've been in this classroom for like 30 minutes now, and the teacher hasn't shown up yet. I guess I should just find something to do to pass the time, and that's definitely not gonna be math. Have you guys played Baldi's Basics? The Baldi's Basics games are survival parody, edutainment, horror-ish type games where you need to collect all of your friends' notebooks before you get caught by the teacher, Baldi. It's pretty simple on paper, and in execution, but there is a lot to love about these simple games. Through this mini-series of videos, I will be ranking the 3 major aspects of these games that make them so amazing. What are they? Well, I'll keep the other 2 a secret for now. Today we are going to be talking about the students, faculty, and strange oddities that inhabit Baldi's schoolhouse. And hopefully he actually shows up to teach me math soon. My mom is, pretty pissed off at me. I'll make the rules this time around very short, as it's more obvious what is considered a character in this series. But there are a few weird picks, so I want to be clear on why I included them and not others. Anyone who interacts with you, speaks, and or physically appears in the game is a character. That means that any of these characters just like on comics randomly on the walls, yeah, those are not considered characters. As of this video being posted, the most recent Plus update is 0.3.8, so anything past that will obviously not be included. Before starting, I'd like to thank Tom R. Bell for making some super in-depth videos on some of the harder Baldi's challenges and features. I pretty much used all of their strategies to beat this game, and it feels wrong not shouting them out. They make really good videos, so you should definitely go check them out. Link will be in the description. Without further ado, the worst Baldi's Basics character is, like, obviously Beans. His official in-game description reads, tries to impress others by blowing bubblegum bubbles, but usually just ends up spitting them out. When he spots you, he'll spit his gum directly at you. It moves about the exact same speed as a bee soda, but if it hits you, you get covered in the stuff, and your movement is greatly slowed down for 10 seconds. Now, this doesn't sound that bad, but 10 seconds in Baldi's Basics is forever, especially in Classic when you already move way slower. This is dreadful. It's not too hard to avoid it if you are near a room or another hallway, but if you were in one of these long, endless hallways this game just loves to throw at you, then you're stuck with him and his annoying ass voice. Look, I like his rhyming shtick, but most of the rhymes themselves aren't very good, and he isn't even consistent about it, which just makes it more annoying. Usually I like lisps and character voices, but wow, it only makes his voice even more grating. It genuinely sounds like the voice actor was trying so hard to be wacky and crazy, and that doesn't work since all the other characters feel so natural and consistent in their weirdness. What a horrible character to get this many voice lines. But at least there's variety, I guess, so you're not listening to the same 2 lines over and over again. And not to be that guy, but Beans is like an offensive stereotype of neurodivergent people. I mean, he's the dumb kid who got held back, doesn't have boundaries, and does gross things thinking they're normal because he wants to impress you. So that makes it worse. Anyway, what about the positives? Well, you can cut yourself out of the gum with the scissors, so it's not absolutely hopeless if you get caught. And even if I dogged on it a lot, a few of the voice lines are good. I'll play my favorites now.
I skip all day, I skip to push the pain away. Don't let the grown-ups spot they time to bounce, time to flee before they throw the book at me.
I may hate this guy, but honestly, he isn't that bad. There are way more annoying characters in this game, but they are at least charming in their designs and their voices. This dude just makes me uncomfortable. In every single way, Bean stands out from all the other characters, and not in a good way. It's almost like he's a bad fangame character trying way too hard to capture Mistman's charm. Oh wait, that's exactly what he is? Huh. Hey guys, wasn't Null Style super cool, rewarding, difficult, and full of personality? Well, what's your reward for beating it? The same exact mode again, but just, like, way worse. For some reason I can't even begin to theorize on, after you delete Null from the game, he is replaced by a red bald balloon. I mean, I guess I can say that it is the entity in Party Style that ended up destroying the game, but like, why? I won't go into too much depth here since I'll be talking about Null Style way later on, but it really is the exact same thing, but he just doesn't speak, so the whole thing is silent. Like, you couldn't have just put in some new Baldi lines, or hell, even old Baldi lines, just make them glitch, but nope. just silence. And what makes it sting even more is that glitch style permanently replaces null style. And I mean permanently. Even if you delete all of your save data, it's still there. Yeah, getting null back into your game is like weirdly complicated, but I'll be talking about that more a lot later. The only reason he isn't last is because glitch style, at the end of the day, is still null style. Just a lot more disappointing. And at least I don't have to listen to the bald loon talk about his gum. So Beans and the red bald loon are the only characters in these games so far that I hate. Seriously, every other character has at least something that I just adore about them, no matter how small. The next few characters on this list are just kind of annoying to deal with and or boring inclusions. Yeah, this one's probably a sin, but the third worst character on my list is me. No, not the playable character, I mean me, which is his official name. Me is just a picture of Mistman, the developer of the game, in a fun pose. So, why is he so low? Well, he only appears to say "Thanks for playing my game" in a low monotone voice once you beat glitch style, which, as I already said, I am not a fan of. This ending is pretty lame considering a message from the developer, you know, me, is literally right next to him, so it's a little redundant. Like, why didn't he just read this out loud? And then you could have done something unique for null style. And also, well, this is the last ending you'll ever get in Remastered, and that is just so sad. Like, this is it? Whatever. We'll talk about null style's ending a lot later so you can tell how much better it really is. All things considered, me is a pretty cool Easter egg character, but that's kinda it. Love your game, Miss Man. Sorry. Chockles is the most character in Baldi's Basics. Some kid drew this face and next thing you know it's floating around laughing and making mischief. If you spend too much time in specific classrooms, Chockles will lock you in and alert Baldi to your location, flying around and laughing at you. This is probably the one character I literally have nothing to say about. It takes him 15 seconds before locking you in, and who the hell spends that much time in a classroom? Unless you're using a dirty chalk eraser, there's really no reason to. And those don't even appear in demo style, so that just leaves Plush, which has much better items. So he isn't challenging. His design is just kinda alright, I guess. And you'll probably never even see him during a game. So what is good about this guy? Honestly, the only thing I like about Chockles is his laugh. It's kind of adorable. Oh, and I guess you can unlock the door with the principal's keys, so great. The first new character ever added to Baldi's Basics Plus wasn't even in the Plus demo, but in the original camping field trip demo, which isn't even gonna be in the game anymore. The goal of the demo was to collect sticks to keep Baldi's fire alive. And keeping you from your goal was It's a Bully for some reason and Cloudycopter. A cloud who loves being a cloud and doing cloudy things. Floats around and blows strong winds down the halls. Let's start with the positives this time around. This guy, this cloud ass right here, is adorable, and I love him. I feel bad for saying this, but Cloudycopter's design is obviously the best part about him. It's amazing, and another 3D-ish character is great to see. I don't know why he is, but he is a rat, which adds to his cuteness. In his original appearance, he would blow on your fire, and while he was, it would go out twice as fast. Just by walking up to him, he will poof out of existence. In Plus and Demo style, Cloudycopter blows down a random hallway for about 10 to 30 seconds, pushing you and most other characters down it. You can run against it if you have to, but it's very slow, and you'll waste all of your stamina. But if you have the big old boots, then you can just walk through it, which is the only good use for that item. This push sucks. It's not enough to be that much of a pain, and it's also not enough to be that useful to you for pushing Baldi away, or even just regaining stamina. I don't think there has ever been a time where Cloudycopter appeared and my reaction was, oh no, not Cloudycopter! He really is just a nothing character, which sucks, but with no voice and a non-threatening, useless mechanic, unfortunately CC will probably be stuck in obscurity for good. But, did you know that his original name was Cunionimbus? like Cunionimbus and Nincompoop? I think that might be the funniest pun I've ever heard in my entire life. I was really debating on if I should put this character in the bottom 6 or not, since I actually like a lot about them, but fuck playtime! Despite her poor eyesight and short memory, she's always looking for a playmate. Let's play. She is Beans, but just way more annoying in the gameplay department. When she sees you, she'll rush over to play with you. You'll then have to play jump rope, which might be the worst thing ever invented. It takes just way too long, and even longer if you mess up because Baldi is literally right behind you. As with all that pressure, it's kind of easy to slip up. If I encounter her right after starting, I'm just gonna reset. Her cooldown is way too short. Only around 15 seconds after playing with you, she'll be ready to do it again. So if you're going the same direction as her and there's only one way forward, you're playing jump rope twice. Playtime is annoying, not fun to play with, and way too vicious. But at the end of the day, she is a great character. Like, yes, I hate her with all my heart while I'm playing the game, but when you aren't playing jump rope 10 times in a row, there's so much to love about her. While her design isn't a huge factor here, they managed to make her look so adorable even with the limited art style. I always love seeing Merge attempt her hair. Her mini is just so adorable, by the way. Even if I probably should hate her voice, I don't. It's super cute and quotable. Not as quotable as the other characters, of course, and the lack of any variety at all makes it a little stale, but I will never not count along with her. Not only does she have cut voice lines, but she also has a few that were removed after the original game came out to make the whole deal a lot faster. And thank God. And even though I do agree that removing these was a good choice, I can't help but think that we're still missing out. I mean, she is spitting bars.
So broken times in a row. Once you do, I let you go. Oops, you messed up. Let's try again. From the top.
At least the 6 through 10 lines were reused for hard mode, is what I would say if I didn't absolutely despise her in hard mode. But not to worry, as even her gameplay has an upside. She is incredibly easy to lose. If you just turn a corner, there is a good chance she'll forget you exist and leave you alone. And if you have scissors with you, you can just cut her rope, which makes her sad. Good, honestly. Actually, forget the scissors because all you need to do is be pushed out of her jump rope. So that makes First Prize, Gotta Sweep, and sometimes Cloudy Copter your best friends in the whole world. She also consistently plays music, which allows you to tell where she is going to be so you don't even have to face her at all. This also changes during party style, which is a pretty cool detail. I never actually realized until recently how many characters have a sound that consistently plays so you can tell where they might be. It's just further proof for me how well sound is used in this game. You being able to outsmart her right away makes her a lot better than she could be, but I'm sorry, in a game full of charming characters who are also annoying, playtime just misses that mark and has to land in the bottom 6, even if I do like her a lot when I'm not playing the game. Man, where the hell is he? Maybe I should just go look for him. Hey kids, did you know that if your teacher is 15 minutes late to class, you're legally allowed to leave? I think asking the principal of the thing would be my best course of action, and his office is this way.
I wanna play with someone.
Speak of the devil. Not right now, playtime. I gotta go see the principal of the
So broken times in a row. Once you do, I let you go.
Okay, fine. Let's make it quick, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There!
Wow, that's great. Let's play again. Sometime.
Yeah. Hopefully not too soon. Man, I'm tired. Good thing I still have a few zesty bars from lunch.
Let's
I better make a pit stop real quick.
I am coming, ready or door, here I come.
Let's play.
I see you.
Ready, go. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, no.
Oops, you messed up.
I don't think they're leaving anytime soon. Well, I guess I can continue my list now. I'm sure you're all dying to know my opinions on arts and crafters. As the only Easter egg character on this list, he probably shouldn't be, and probably not this high. But Bladder is too funny for me to not include him, honestly. In demo style, if you put your poster portal on this wall in the faculty room near the cafeteria, then you'll find a hidden room with a character who looks just like Baldi, but with a purple shirt and a big nose named Bladder. He is a parody of those shitty Baldi and Granny ripoff games littering the app stores, and a damn good one. Bladder's simple and education school scary grandma game. I don't know why this quote is so funny to me, but it's just so accurate. I also think it's really funny that canonically, if you make bootleg Baldi games, you get trapped in the school walls. Good job, Baldi. Okay, so this is another weird one, but do you remember that anti-piracy screen trend from a few years ago? Most of them were fictional, but because of that, it made the real ones so much more special. In comes Bad Sum, who is the Baldi's Basics full game Kickstarter demo anti-piracy screen. If you downloaded the game without a Kickstarter Steam code, you would get this screen showing a very traumatized looking Baldi with a blue shirt. The message reads, "Something isn't adding up. Please restart the program. If this error continues, this may be an unauthorized copy of the game. Please refer to the manual for more information." Of course, this is a method to counteract pirates, but it's also an homage to strangely disturbing screens just like this one in older kids' computer games, complete with amazing puns, horrific imagery and music, and even a reference to a manual that doesn't exist. Now, this guy might not be a new character. Baldi might have just changed his shirt, but a few things point to him being different. Besides the shirt, Bad Sum is missing his one strand of hair, and in the background you can see that he's in Baldi's office, which usually has an apple on the desk. And as we see, when Nola's in the office, it changes to a banana, but here you can see that it's a globe instead. And as for the name, well, honestly, I don't know where people got it from. I think the image might be named that, but in Remastered, the song that plays here returns for the warning screen. And what is it called? Bad Sum. Bad Sum appears one more time in the ending of Plus as another error screen. This screen mentions Null by name. They could be tied together in some way. Wow, I had a lot to say about a character who is hardly in the actual games. Anyway, now we're getting to the real characters, starting with what I assume is an unpopular opinion. I don't like Gotta Sweep that much. What do you do when the school opens in 7 hours and you haven't hired a janitor? Hire a broom. It sweeps everything. Every 2 or 3 minutes, Gotta Sweep leaves his closet and picks a bunch of random locations to sweep to before going back to his closet. While he's sweeping, anyone who is in his path will get swept along with him, including the player, Baldi, and most everyone else. Don't get me wrong, when the game was first released, I was totally into his lines and his gimmicks. But after a lot of time and 2 new games, I realized I was bored of him. I mean, the only new things he's gotten so far was a surprise voice line that everyone got, not to mention that it's the worst one. And he was turned into a giant corn harvester in the old farm field trip, and while he reaped the corn, he yelled, "Gotta reap, reap, reap." Holy shit, okay, that's actually really amazing. If it was still in the game. Look, this voice is like, amazing. And hearing it repeatedly while it gets louder and louder while he sweeps all of the other characters will never get old to me. But most of the other characters have tons of stuff to say, and they don't get stale to me. But Broom Boy over here? Yeah, I'm not feeling him anymore. Especially after introducing the world to the horrors of the Gotta Sweep achievement. I'll never forgive you for that. Oh, his actual gameplay? It's fine. You can push Baldi away from you sometimes, which is cool. And riding him, when it isn't for the fucking achievement, is pretty fun. All things considered, I just think it's really funny there's official merch of a random broom from Mistman's house. When you get all 7 notebooks, the game goes into an end game mode. All the exits are open, the walls turned red, and Baldi is faster than ever, and this sound is blasted in your ears. But nothing gameplay-wise really changes all that much. Just kidding. Shy and tries to be avoided, doesn't like being looked at, and gets jealous at people with more notebooks than him. Arts and Crafters appears throughout the entire game, but only attacks you when you get 7 notebooks. When you look at him for too long, and by too long I mean just over a second, he screeches and rushes towards you, circling until eventually teleporting you and Baldi near an exit you haven't gone to yet. In the new games. In Classic, he just brought both of you to the front exit, like, right next to each other. So if you didn't have a bee soda, then you're kinda screwed. Yeah, he used to be a lot more threatening, but now, honestly, he's more useful than anything else. You can just avoid him until Baldi gets close and then use him as a free escape, unless he puts you next to each other. Another thing making him not that threatening anymore is that he only teleports you once per game, meaning that during the longer modes like demo and party styles hard endings, he's only seen that one time. I'm not quite sure what made Mistman choose to make different characters, 3D, 2D, or real life pictures, but Arts and Crafters is just like a real life sock puppet that he made and then took 2 pictures of, and I gotta say, it's pretty fucking awesome. while I definitely don't consider these characters scary, I think that Arts and Crafters is one of the few that is actually pretty creepy. I mean, you see him out of the corner of your eye constantly, and as soon as he lets you get a closer look at him, he opens his mouth and screeches at you, rapidly approaching. That is creepy. One last thing I'd like to mention is his merch. Yeah, really, merch of a sock. I just want to show you this figure of him because it's genuinely so adorable, and I love him. Okay, that's all I can say about a sock puppet, but to be fair, it is an incredible sock puppet. I've never seen anyone like it. So, before planning this video, I didn't even know that the test was a character. I saw his face on tier list and just assumed it was referring to the face in party style, kind of like Play's face, but no, he's just incredibly rare for no reason. And since I haven't gotten gameplay footage as of writing, I literally have never encountered this guy before. If you want to keep an eye on anyone, look no further than this fella. Don't forget where you last spotted him. When you see the test in the hallways, the school lights start going crazy and an eerie noise starts playing. After 5 seconds of you staring at him, he will gain the ability to move, but only when you aren't looking at him and he can see you. Every time you look away from him, he gets faster and faster until eventually just being able to teleport right to you. If he is able to catch you, you're blinded for 2 minutes. And this guy has no cooldown at all. This is another character I genuinely find creepy. Why is it all the non-talking ones? The weeping angels trope in horror is a classic one, and I think it's really well done here. The low drone whenever he can see you gives me goosebumps. The look of this guy isn't all that interesting, but the 360 body is always cool to see, even if it is not that interesting to look at. But that's not the part of this design that I just love. It's the head. It's just a regular image like the rest of the flat things in this game, meaning that no matter where you are, it faces you, even on the other side of the test's body. Now that is just awesome. I wish I could put this guy higher, and maybe I will in the future. I think the test has a lot of potential, but for now, he's just kind of a rare sight you'll probably never see unless you find a specific seed. Here's the ones I used. A little update since I've encountered this guy a couple times now. My opinion hasn't changed. He is super cool, but that's kind of it. I think he should be way more common. Him being kind of rare makes it so I'll pretty much never actually be affected by this guy, and it's just kind of a cool thing to see. In a school setting, it makes sense to have a bully character who takes your items when you pass him. So of course, this game has one of those. What is that? Oh, it's a bully! Thank God that text was there. Here at school, we believe that every good school needs a good bully, and that's why we have this kid. It's a bully blocks the hall and prevents you from passing through unless you give him one of your items at random. That's kinda it. I mean, gameplay-wise, he's super boring, and you'll almost never get greatly affected by him blocking a hall. But obviously, that's not why he's here. It's a bully has an insane amount of trivia, and just a ton of small things attached to him that just makes him so memorable to me. Like the fact that if the principal of the thing sees him in the hallway, he sends him to the principal's office, and if you actually go to the principal's office, you can see him inside. He can't be swept away because he's actually just a wall with a texture. That's why Baldi and the other characters can't see you from behind him, and is also why you can put a grapple into his belly. When he takes your candy, he teleports to that same spot right under the map. His model seems to be a shitty recreation of Joe, an old Mistman character, this random me head, and Place face. All just kind of mashed together. He was the first ever Baldi's character to ever be created, about 3 years before the game was being made, for this vine showing him running.
I'm a pro!
Which is kind of carried over because in his one and only image, you can see he clearly has one leg up behind him, and the other one is starting to rise. Interesting to see that it's like directly taken from that. And bro, look at this guy's goofy ass merch. This is just amazing. Why does he look so sad in all of them? And of course, the best part about It's a Bully, his voice is so good. And honestly, one of my favorites in the game. It's actually directly inspired by this weird animation called the Preschool Bully by Pilot Red Sun.
I'm gonna take your candy.
Complete with the iconic bully echo and monotone.
I'm gonna take your candy.
So that explains why the bully of this school sounds so Some of his lines also seem to be a reference to that weird pumpkin cafe game.
Give me the noodles.
As Mistman seems to be a big fan of that for some reason.
Give me your gift.
My favorite lines are definitely
Thanks for the generous donation.
and
I'm bored.
I don't know, man. His voice is just so weird and not fitting at all, and I love it. And this is the kind of weirdness I love from Baldi's. I swear, the echo is literally the funniest thing in this game. Okay, I talked way too long about It's a Bully, and I should probably move on now, or people might think he's my favorite character or something. Or I could just keep talking about It's a Bully. He was also in the camping demo where he would just kind of like run after you creepily, and he would steal all your... Oh, wow, that was convenient. Let's head to the office now. Uh-oh. Ah! Are you gonna drop me, or... Oh. Okay. So, Johnny! Now, this game is a really great parody of edutainment games, but Johnny is truly the pinnacle of this concept. His voice in particular sounds exactly like the kind of voice you would hear for a shopkeeper in, like, Freddy Fish. It's genius!
Hi, I'm Johnny. Welcome to my store.
His design isn't anything too special, but I definitely do like it. It fits the voice so well. Honestly though, I prefer the elevator sprite. It's kinda hilariously bad. Although he doesn't do all that much, that's not really a big deal, as he's just a way to make the shop concept a bit more exciting and comical. And he does the job incredibly well. Okay, now here are a couple of my favorite voice lines.
Thanks. I hated that item anyways. No way you'll get lost now. Say hi to Baldi for me. I didn't really want food today anyways.
I want to highlight one line in particular, as it seems to be a reference to The Room, and since his name is Johnny, it seems like that might be where he got it from.
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. You're my favorite customer.
You're my favorite customer.
Hi, doggy.
There's also a couple voice lines that insinuate that Johnny's parents are dead,
Thank you. My parents would have been so proud that I made a sale.
which is some interesting lore I didn't expect. I love when creators put their own personal nostalgia into their works, like with what we saw from It's a Bully, but Johnny was actually a character Mistman's sister has been doing for years, which is why she also voices him. Wow, that is some real talent. Stuff like that is what really makes this game feel personal and special to me. Okay, so literally everything I said about playtime goes against this character being this high, and I know I'm gonna get some pushback on this, but Principal of the Thing is such a good character. Yeah, I fucking hate him in the actual game, and all my nightmares start with
No stabbing people with pencils in the halls.
but I don't care. Everything else about him is amazing. If I see anyone breaking the school rules, I'll make sure justice is served. It tastes good and fills my tummy. What is this description? I genuinely believe that Principal of the Thing is the most well-designed character in this game. Everything about him just makes so much sense, from his mechanic to his voice to even the way that they let you know where he is by having him whistle. It's just perfect. And frustrating, but that goes without saying. Fun fact, his whistle actually comes from one of my favorite scenes in The Amazing World of Gumball. This song gets super glued into your skull, and I whistle it to myself by habit now. I love that literally everything he says is in the exact same tone of voice, and most are said in the exact same way as well, only being broken by this one line when you use the principal whistle.
Don't worry, I'm coming.
Unlike some of the other running jokes in this game, his is just so perfect, and with the amount of school rules that he yells at you with increasingly more complicated
looking in other
names, it's
people's lockers
somehow
in the hall.
always funny, even to this day. No offense. Gotta sweep, sweep, sweep. I think my favorites have to be
No surprises in the hall. No breaking the fourth wall in the halls. No being in school after hours in the hall.
the latter just makes no sense, and I love it for that. The way he works is that if you break one of the school rules and he sees you doing it before your guilt timer runs out, he starts after you. You cannot lose him. You can try, but no matter how far you get or how far you push him away, he will never forget that time that you ran in the halls. Man, he is good at his job.
You should know better.
He sends you to detention, and his timer starts at 15 seconds and goes up by 5 every time you get caught. Until you get to 60, then he just jumps right to 99. Who is naturally going to see that? Dalko, I guess. As for uses, well, the only one I really got is just praying that he'll randomly show up right before you have to go through the bully so we can send him away. It's always hype when this happens. This design is literally just the creator of the game in a funny pose, and it is amazing. You can actually find pictures of him wearing the shirt more recently. The closed eyes, the open mouth, and pointed finger really makes him look like an annoying hall monitor. Except he's the principal of the thing. Oh yeah, his name is a fucking pun based on the phrase "it's the principal of the thing." That is amazing! Now I would like to turn your attention to his merch because it gets kind of weird. The figure looks okay, if not a little strange, but I mainly want to show you his minifigure. This thing looks so good and is exactly what merch like this should be. Over-exaggerated. Oh, and apparently this blob around his neck is a yellow bow tie. Okay then. I mean, the creator confirmed it, so I guess I gotta believe it. The principal of the thing might be super annoying, but it's the kind of annoying that makes the game better. You need to watch your back at all times, and with all the charm injected straight into him, I couldn't be happier that he's here to stay. Okay, but how is this guy standing here considered bullying, but cutting a little girl's jump rope and the literal body of this guy not bullying. After Baldi's Basics blew up, Missman decided to release an update for the game to add a ton of ideas he just didn't have enough time to include in the 2 weeks allotted for him to create it. This update added a completely new secret ending, a ton of new items that would become iconic to the series, and of course, introduced us to First Prize, the reason bad math was even possible in the first place. Won first prize at the science fair, loves hugging people and rushing towards anyone it sees. Sadly, it turns super slowly. Just like the test, First Prize has different renders for each direction you'll see him from, meaning he is a completely 3D character, which works wonders for his mechanic. When you enter his line of sight, he will slowly turn to face you. When he finally does, he will charge forward at ridiculously fast speeds, so he can give you a hug, pushing you to the end of the hall and creating a loud thunk that alerts Baldi. This hug cannot be escaped from without the use of an item, and while it can be super useful for getting around the map, it can also push you right into Baldi, making First Prize the perfect mix of risk versus reward. But obviously, it's a lot more positive. Design-wise, this is one of the coolest characters yet. He's supposed to be a science project, so his head and hands are just attached to this blue cage on wheels that is all powered by a heart and several wires. I don't quite get it, but sure. It looks super cool, so I'm not complaining. While it isn't the most spectacular thing about him, the voice, provided by a text-to-speech bot, is rather charming, and some of these lines are cute as hell, if not a little repetitive, but that's not a problem exclusive to him.
I hug people for all eternity. I see you, friend. I am coming, ready or door, here I come.
Added in Plus, First Prize can also smash through windows if he happens to be in the path of one, which is a fun little detail I really love, even if you'll probably never see it randomly. First Prize might not be the most interesting character, but he is super unique and one of the most useful characters in the entire game, helping you in almost all of the hard mode endings, as gaining space from Baldi has never been easier. Whoa! Oh, finally, I was starting to get motion sick. Oh, come on! Sorry.
Sweep!
What was I saying again? Oh, right, the top 3. Unfortunately, Plus hasn't really had the best track record for me. Joggles and Cloudycopter are pretty much useless. Johnny is fun, but a sort of unnecessary inclusion. And Beans is... Beans. But I think that this next character really proved to me that Missman still has the ability to make an amazing side character, as they are my favorite non-attacking enemy from either game, and really uses Plus's unique gameplay to its advantage. That character is, of course, Mrs. Pomp.
You there, you there. Just reminding you to be at my class in 2 minutes.
Hops around in her high heel shoe, inviting students to her class. Make sure you're not late, or else. I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but Miss Pomp is the only scary character in the game. I'm not expecting the other characters to scare me, as this isn't really a horror game, but her actually freaking me out sends her leagues above the others for me. Mrs. Pomp is a high-heeled shoe with very curly-haired, pompadoured head. The design is sort of uncanny already, so when she sees you in the hall and then rushes full speed towards you, it can easily make you jump. She tells you to be at her class before the timer runs out, which can be seen on the map, but she reminds you at every minute-long interval. If you make it to the room she's in, she says, "Just in time," and then the class is dismissed until next time she finds you. But if you don't make it to her class on time, the next room you enter will be normal, but once you open the door to leave... This scared the fuck out of me when I first encountered it. It is genuinely a perfect jump scare, and the scream still gives me uncomfortable goosebumps. Like, damn, good job, Caddy. Fun fact, she also voices Johnny. Yeah, she is a pretty impressive voice actor. I hope she gets to play even more characters in this game's future. In general, everything about Mrs. Pomp just kind of makes me uncomfortable, in a good way. Her scream is currently the loudest sound in the game, meaning that everything else, even getting detention, will be completely ignored by Baldi while he heads straight towards you and Mrs. Pomp. That's all I have to say about Mrs. Pomp for now. A super solid character I'm so excited to see more of, definitely deserving of the top 3.
Class dismissed.
Let me just take a second to praise this game even more than I already have. This game is something truly special. Even though it was made in 2 weeks, you could tell so much love and passion went into this, especially with the good amount of the characters being ones that Missman had already made and had an attachment to. It feels so personal and finely tuned. And I'd even go as far as saying that Classic Remastered is one of my favorite indie games ever made. And for all of that, I would just like to say that this game would not be as charming, fun, addictive, or even good if Baldi wasn't the face of the series. Great teacher due to his incredible hearing abilities. He can not only tell where any sound came from, but also who made it too. Unlike every other character on this list, Baldi has a lot exclusive to him. And just so much to talk about, I'm going to be splitting it up into a few different segments just to make it easier to follow. Baldi is the only character in the main game who can actually end your run, so he is your #1 priority. Baldi is smart, obviously. He's a math teacher, and he does not mess around. When Baldi sees you or hears you make any noise at all, he will immediately start heading right towards you, moving in intervals whenever he slaps his ruler. Once he gets to the last spot he knew that you were, he will enter wander mode, just randomly searching rooms trying to find you. Baldi only starts after you once you get a problem wrong, which is a little bit rigged as the problems aren't exactly possible. From this point on, every answer you get wrong, Baldi permanently gets faster, and of course, you only get slower as your stamina is limited. After only a few wrong answers, not even your running speed is enough to lose him, so you'll have to take advantage of the many items in this game to get him away. After collecting all 7 notebooks, Baldi says this.
Congratulations! You found all 7 notebooks! Now all you need to do is... get out while you still can!
Which honestly still gives me goosebumps to this day. It's such a good moment that makes everything much more intense. The 4 exits are now open and you have to head to every single one, as the first 3 close once you approach them and alert Baldi to your location. He works almost the exact same in Plus, but instead of answering questions, you just pick up the notebooks. He also gives you a 10-second head start at the beginning. Now isn't that nice of him? Oh, he's peeking! You can also find him throughout the building standing in front of his bus. And when you walk into him, he will take you to 2 different minigame field trips. The camping one, which I am horrible at, and the farm one. Can I just give a round of applause to Mistman for making these look exactly like a shitty edutainment minigame? Like, this is perfect. Winning these gives you a ton of amazing items, so it's definitely worth your detour. Don't ask me what happened to Joe. There is plenty more I could talk about when it comes to gameplay, like how he can hear bad math when you get all the questions wrong, or how his ruler can break in Plus, and how his hearing can just be stopped with a tape, but there is just too much small stuff like that to go over it all. Just read up on the wiki if you want to learn everything about him, which I honestly recommend. It was a lot of fun doing it for this video. Next up is design. Okay, yeah, it isn't like the most amazing or outstanding monster design ever, but I think it was perfect for what it was going for. A crappy ripoff edutainment game with a dumb themed character named after his main feature. It is literally perfect for that kind of thing. I love it so much. I love his basic 3D elements, his funny looking head and his goofy brown shoes. It's all just so charming. He isn't even close to my favorite Baldi's design, but it is exactly what it should be, and I love it for that. Oh, and those themed outfits are adorable, especially the overalls. Closely related to all that is his voice. It is literally perfect. I don't know why, but it is just great and somehow fitting, and I think if he had a different voice, it just wouldn't be the same. It's so different from all the other characters, and I love that. As soon as his happy-go-lucky voice cuts out and he gets mad at you, you already know that you're screwed. And the fact that he's just dead silent while he tracks you down is honestly kind of creepy sometimes. I want to play a few of my favorite voice lines now, but there are just too many good ones, so I'm sorry if I forget your favorite.
That's how you use items, you know. You got it. Oh. The farmer gave you these items as thanks.
Come on in and have a blast.
For all I know, the final product could be a free-to-play Match 3 in-app purchase. Ew. Whoa. I think you might be smarter than me.
Sorry there were still so many. His voice is just so fun to listen to. Aside from the random selection I played, there are still a few more outliers. Tons of spoilers for the ending of Remastered, by the way. It's free, go play it. After freeing the game from Null, Baldi will go back to being a normal teacher, and the screaming line at the end is now replaced with
"Find a way out before I catch you!"
And all 3 Null endings are replaced with Baldi doing something completely harmless and kind of adorable, such as genuinely giving you math tips, showing you a great song he made, and trying out his new shrinking machine. These endings aren't the coolest or the most heavy things ever, but they are all just so cool and cute and just plain, say it with me now, charming. I hope we see more wholesome teacher Baldi in the future. Quick break from the actual game for a moment, I quickly want to talk about merch. Since Baldi is the main character, there is a lot more merch of him than the others. The 2 plushes are quirky looking but fun. The figure is just amazing, and these minis are so high quality. The camping Baldi is so cool. I love the fire as a stand. But the main thing I want to bring attention to is U2s. This is easily the best Baldi merch. There's so much charm packed into even just the box here. I love the artist rendition of the lockers and the plants and even Baldi's office. And the inside of the box is just pure white like the title screen. And then when you remove the figure, 99. Maybe I'll talk about 99 another time. Anyway, in this box is Baldi and the title screen chalkboard. Now you can perfectly recreate it. The posing is perfect and every detail is captured so well. Look at the fingers. Sorry, I just got this thing and I kind of felt like showing it off as it's now one of my favorite U2s. Maybe one day I'll hunt down the other merch I missed out on. It's kind of hard to find. And that's all I'm going to say about Baldi for now. There is a lot more to bring up, but since I still have 2 videos left, I'd rather not have those topics overlap when I eventually need to discuss them then. But for now, Baldi is the heart and soul of Baldi's Basics, and he is pretty damn ruthless, giving the game its cutthroat difficulty. But I won't lie, I like myself a good amount of lore in my indie horror games, and Baldi doesn't quite cut it for me.
Remember, kids, this isn't canon.
And my favorite Baldi's Basics character is obviously Null. Null is hidden away in the vast corners of the game, locked behind the hardest challenges. Whether it be beating Classic while getting all the questions wrong, using the dangerous teleporter after blowing out the candles and party, and using the poster portal to enter Baldi's basement in demo. When you first find him, he congratulates you, but tells you that you have to destroy the game, even though he can't tell you why. The next time is more of the same, as he's impressed you found him twice, but annoyed that you haven't done what he asked yet. But after you find him in demo, he gets pretty pissed, telling you that this game is seriously dangerous and digging for lore is pointless because there is none. He gives you his final warning and quits the game for you, but obviously, we are stubborn. After finding Null in all the modes and then beating Story with all the fun styles on, you unlock Null Style, which is the hardest challenge in the entire game. It took me weeks to beat this, as Null is not messing around. He only makes sounds when opening doors or randomly saying a voice line, and he is faster than you almost immediately after starting the game. And he can smash through windows to get to you faster. When Null catches you, this happens. Which is, pretty cool. It also closes the game, which gets very annoying, but after a lot of trial and error, you reach the final exit and your path is blocked and Null is right in front of you. You then grab an object and throw it at him. Here is where the final boss of the game really starts. You get speeded way up and Null is after you. You can grab random props that you see on the floor and throw them back at Null, who stops for a second, only to get faster. He can block your path and creates his own shortcuts using the window, so this fight is not easy. And losing it means beating Null Style all over again. I would like to bring to your attention the music for a moment. This song is titled Schoolhouse Trouble and it was composed by Anthony Hampton. And holy shit, it is so good. As you continue to hit Null, the music gets more and more intense, and it might be the coolest thing in this game. It makes you so hyped and stressed out at the same time. It is a perfect final boss track. Once Null is finally defeated, he gets deleted from the game, and now everything is back to normal. Baldi is a regular old teacher, and Null Style gets replaced with the much inferior Glitch Style. Okay, so let's get into this right away. Null is the coolest thing in this game. Like, yeah, lore isn't important to a game like this, but I was so genuinely invested in what was going on here, and I wanted and still want to know more about him. And his long, glitchy speeches were a perfect reward for beating the harder challenges in the game. Seeing spoiler thumbnails was the main driving force for me to beat this game at all. Null helped make this game more than just a silly parody, even if that is just what it is. Aside from that, I don't have much to say. The design is pretty much just a guy T-posing with his skin keyed out, but a file in the game called N can be put together with Null and you get the full image. There was also this rare error screen in the game that only shows up after you defeat Null. Once you view it for the first time, you can never see it again, and it ends with Null screaming as he fades out of existence. It's pretty much just a last hurrah, as the very last remnants of Null gets deleted from the game, never to return. And I love his voice. It's low and droning, which makes it so when he speaks up, it's a lot more threatening. The glitches are a little loud, but they make him so much more mysterious. Like, what happened to him to make him like that? And is it even related to why he wants to destroy the game? And no, he's not someone trapped inside the game. That would be ridiculous. We actually only learned that his name is Null as a way of stopping us from digging around, hoping that that small amount of lore would make us satisfied, but clearly that doesn't work. Unlike Baldi, he actually talks during gameplay. In fact, he screams. And it's pretty disturbing, especially if he's right behind you.
There's nowhere you can hide. I've had enough. I've had enough.
Hey! Wherever you are, I've identified you, so you might as well just quit the game now!
And of course, this very specific voice line that only happens when you're out of stamina and have no items. I have never encountered this.
See, no items, you're out of stamina, and I'm faster than you. Uh-oh, looks like you're gonna lose, and there's literally nothing you can do.
I would try to get into the lore of the character, but I'm actually not really that smart when it comes to that kind of thing. But I do want to point out that someone other than Null seems to be in control. In the basement ending, he mentions that he's not supposed to close the game as he might get in trouble. And of course, throughout all of his dialogue, he constantly gets angry that he can't just tell you what the problem is. He also seemingly gets forced to start coughing, presumably so he can't talk to the player anymore. But I'll leave it there for now and let you come up with your own ideas. And don't worry, if I didn't mention something you wanted me to talk about, let's just say this isn't even close to the last time I'll talk about Null in this series. I'll also be sharing a lot more of those voice lines later, I promise. But here's a couple highlights.
This is probably looking pretty ridiculous. There's nothing you can do. They intentionally... right. You want to explore to figure out the lore. Quiet! I like you to go! Keepers. Okay, so...
And that's all. All of the Baldi's Basics characters ranked. If you agree with this list, then that's great. And if not, leave me a comment and tell me how your opinion differs from mine. Wait, what was I doing before this? Oh right, the principal's office. Oh come on, there's no way you did a full lap around the school. I am not playing, okay? I don't have time for this. I said I'm not playing, so run along and play with beans or something. Ugh, that's it. You made me do this. Ugh, finally! Let's just go find the principal already.
No bullying in the halls. Detention for you. You should know better.
Well, at least I'm in the principal's office.